Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Well, we've come to the point where this 3-ring binder is full and it's time to start another one. Do you guys keep your writings in 3-ring binders, or how do you store yours? Me, I've gotten to the point where I 3-hole punch my letter size sheets of paper for whatever use it is, and I organize them in different binders based on what they're for. This binder I call my typewritten journal, and it's actually basically random typings that don't fall into the category of blog articles, for instance. So I just by default call that a journal article. Also, I've included in here all of my typings that I've submitted to Daniel Morlow's One Typed Page blog. So I'm participating in the One Typed Page. I'm writing my own blog, not as often as I should. And I also, as I say, write miscellaneous typings of different kinds. So I like to organize them by date and by kind of thematic structure here. So I thought we'd go through this notebook a little bit and talk about organizing our writings. Stay tuned. One thing that's fun to do is to go through a record of all your writings chronologically and just kind of thumb through it and read them and see what you were writing about, what typewriters were you using, what paper were you using, how the ribbon qualities might have varied from one machine to the other, how you might have changed your formatting or whatever, the paper size or type or whatever. It's kind of fun just to go through this. This notebook I started in June of 2020, and here it's near the end of February of 2021. So, roughly not quite 9 months. Well, I do like to get the kind of 3-ring binders that have a clear sleeve on the front and on the spine here, so I can insert a piece of paper and have some kind of a title. On this particular notebook, I had typed this two-tone black and red typewritten journal, June 2020, kind of a nice little touch. And then I did a similar thing on the spine of it. So here's the first typing I did in this notebook, 1st of June. This was with the Chroma Calibri when Kevin had given it to me with the green ribbon. Did a little bit of random typing and a typing test with it. Then the same day with Kevin's Epson typewriter with a carbon film ribbon. The next week, this was with my Voss Model 50. I forgot how nice this looks. I need to get this typewriter out and look at it and start using it. It has a German keyboard, so it has the little section symbol, and I was using a two-tone effect on the title. And also the first letter of each paragraph, I used red ink, which is kind of a nice touch. And this is the parchment paper that I use. That is kind of nice. Then this was Kevin's Voss Deluxe, again the same day, purple ribbon, nice dark imprint. Then we go to the 7th of June. This is the Chroma Calibri after I changed the ribbon to a black ribbon. And then this was the next, 3 days later, this was my Smith Corona Silent Super, doing a typing comparison between it and the Royal Quiet Deluxe. I think I was maybe working on a video here where I was measuring the size of the keyboards and the slope of the keyboards. So this was kind of the notes I used for that. Then I did this double-paged effect where on this one I folded the paper in half so I had its own backing sheet, and I typed 2 halves. And this was with the Chroma Calibri, and on the 10th and 11th of June, right? So kind of an interesting way of doing things. Oh, when you do this, you want to make sure you give yourself enough room for the hole punching, right? Okay, this was a piece of wrapping paper that came in a package, kind of a newsprint quality paper, 14th of June, Chroma Calibri. And it's nice and wrinkled, and I kind of like the effect of that. And so, again, a different style. And you notice what I'm doing here is these smaller sheets of paper, I'm taping them to a larger letter size sheet of paper so I can 3-hole punch it. Here is an old piece of yellowed notebook, lined notebook paper that I was typing on. Of course, the lines on the paper don't really match up with the 6 lines per inch typewriter line spacing, but again, had fun with it. And this was probably the Calibri also. Yes, it was 14th of June. Another one, I like the style of this of this title right here, the way I do the double strike effect. It's kind of cool. And using a bichrome ribbon on the Calibri that only has a single color setting, sometimes some of the characters get a slight red tint to them, which is kind of a neat effect, unpredictable. 14th of June, another 14th of June, typing with the, what is this? Sometimes I don't write the typewriter down. That's a problem. Is this the Calibri? No, it's a different typewriter. I don't know which one it is, actually. Anyways, and then we go to another one. So I'm using this old lined paper a lot, and I really like it. And these were one-type page entries. And so I was starting to get into one-type page. And then this is my Voss Model 50, 14th of June, typing on this nice letter quality paper. More lined notebook paper, more one-typed page stuff. Sometimes I would use my stamp to stamp the date if I didn't type it. This is the Calibri. This is the Voss 50. Oh, I like this little title effect I did. Double struck capitals with spaces between them, underlined, and then the Voss 50 name. That's a nice effect. Here is the yellow Brother typewriter that I found and then fixed it up and gave to Kevin. And this is sort of like a test typing that I was doing. Yes, this is that same typewriter, the Brother Activator 850 TR. After I had fixed it up, it had a brown ribbon in it, test typing on notebook paper. Groma Calibri, more notebook paper typing. And then we go to the Hermes Rocket, a 2-page entry. I would say a typewritten journal entry. And this was up in the Sandia Mountain campground, according to my notes. So I typed that up in the mountains. So we go on and on. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But, oh yeah, I also like to use this green engineering paper. It has a grid, a 1/4-inch grid on the back side, but I type on the front side, and it has these fields, right, for titles and stuff, and it's already pre-punched the holes on the side with a little kind of guideline. So it's kind of a nice paper in terms of the look of it. It's kind of thin. It's not great typing paper, but if you have a intrinsically dark printing typewriter, it works pretty good. And that was with my French-made 1970s Hermes 3000 and the Voss Model 50, which I'm looking at the imprint, how dark it is. It's like, man, I got to get that thing out of the closet and start using it. That is a nice printing machine. Okay, what else do we have? Oh yeah, more wrinkled packing paper. I kind of like the look of that, though. It kind of looks just intrinsically dark. This was my wife's Olympia SM3, 10th of August. One-type page. The double struck effect between the black and the red is very prominent. Royal Mercury. Oh, yes. This is a marbled kind of paper, letter paper, and it's a nice, just a beautiful printing typewriter. This is the Silent Super. Oh, look how dark. This is probably after I changed the ribbon. Nice and dark imprint on this letter paper. This is the Groma Calibri Repair Notes. After I was fixing it, trying to get rid of the skipping, and more notes that I typed on the Groma Calibri, actually on the other side of this, on the green paper, and I cut and pasted some of these notes into the back of that. So anyways, more and more of this stuff going on. Oh, this is interesting. This is more of that wrinkled wrapping paper, and there is now is the time, so somebody typed something here on a carbon film typewriter, and then I just typed around it. So that's interesting. More wrinkled wrapping paper, lined notebook paper, etc., etc. Oh, yes, we get to something interesting here. So these are the Tyvek shipping envelopes, mailing envelopes, and I cut this sheet out from a Tyvek envelope, and it actually takes the ink fairly well, surprisingly well. This was with Adobe Rose, my Royal Quiet Deluxe. Prints surprisingly dark, and I posted that to one-type page. It's a little bit pricey using that for paper, but it does work pretty good. And then here I went through a phase of using the green engineering paper from the 18th of October, actually the whole day. I did two-page things. This was a journal entry and another journal entry. Two-page journal entries. With what typewriter? With the Studio 45. That was probably right after I got it. Yeah, this is right after I got the Studio 45. I was using it quite a bit. You know how you get infatuated with a typewriter. Oh, this is when we were up in Sipapu Ski Lodge in northern New Mexico, 19th of October. Royal Quiet Deluxe Adobe Rose, and typing on this marbled letter paper. Let's see, yes, we're still at Sipapu here, and I did 2 pages on that trip. And now we go to the Hermes 3000, and I had a little line of just miscellaneous text up here, and I just typed below it, and then when I photographed it for the scan, I just cropped that down. But this was with the newer, I should say my newer Hermes 3000. It's actually older, it's 1961. So then this is the electric Smith Corona 5 Series Type Bar Electric with a blue ribbon. 25th of October, more one-type page. Here is a 2-pager, and what I did here is I taped the second page below the first page and offset them so you can kind of tell that there are 2 pages to read. The Smith Corona Electric, this one looks really nice. Nice imprint. That was a one-type page article. This one here is interesting. This was typed on the Groma Colibri, and this was just an entry that I had typed lengthwise or something and just cut a piece off. I think I was doing some random testing, and I just like this paragraph, so I just taped it to a sheet of paper and got rid of the rest. And this was like a test typing. The Olympia Reporter Type R Electric. Okay, let's pretend we're writers or reporters for some regional news agency in the 1980s, and this is what we like to use for our reports. What would it be like to use this machine for extended periods of time? Would the rattly sounds from the plastic body drive us to distraction? Maybe. Maybe we get used to it, though. Well, there you go. There's some pontificating about what it would be like to use a Type R Electric back in the 1980s. Going on further here, though, I do get into some thermal typings. I wanted to show you guys how I do this. What I've done is I've taken a letter-sized sheet of paper, I folded it in half lengthwise, I've 3-hole punched the edge, and then I've taken this long scroll, and this is actually not a thermal typing, it's just a scroll of regular paper on the Groma Colibri, but I've taken it and I've taped the top edge of the scroll, and then I just fold this thing fanfold style, however many feet of typing it goes, and this was dated on 16th of December using my paper roll holder. So that's kind of one way that you can archive roll paper typings, is to tape them, fold them fanfold style and tape them to a regular sheet of paper like that. That kind of works pretty good. Oh yeah, more thermal typings, even cartoon drawings. Sometimes I would have an initial typing and I would edit it and then retype it, which is what that was. It was like, I don't normally do multiple drafts like that, but this was the Olympia SM3, and this was a 2 1/4 inch adding machine paper, and this is Typewriter Club, 7th of February 2021 grocery list. So this is typing up a grocery list. Bourbon, shotgun shells, Vaseline, Tang, Hamburger Helper, broccoli flavored Cheese Whiz. Some of these things they don't actually make. Goldfish-shaped ice cube molds, pimento loaf, liverwurst, deviled ham, and yellow slices of plastic fake cheese with yellow dye number 8. Anyways, I was having fun with it. But you type things on long strips of paper. You just tape them to a regular sheet of paper, and that's how that works. And then more recently, when I got my Royal KMM, I discovered I really liked typing with this newsprint paper that I get from, I have an art pad of newsprint art paper, and I just cut these in half so they're 6x9, and they make pretty good paper for typing on. So you go to the office supply store, and they have all kinds of different notebooks, different sizes and colors, and I decided on this kind of lime green or bright green format. And what I did here is they usually have a piece of paper that comes with, the product in the little plastic sleeve, and so I just flip it over in this case and just typed a little title, February of 2021, and then I used one of these adhesive labels here typed on it to mark the starting date of this new notebook. And I already have 2 entries. This I did yesterday, Royal Mercury on the front patio, and a one-type page with the Royal Mercury also that I did today. So I wanted to show you that I not only organize my private journal writings in one-typed page entries, but I have a separate notebook for blog articles. This one I started in January of 2016. And it is a roughly 4-inch almost wide binder. And it is almost completely full. Hundreds and hundreds of pages of typings. I like this style of notebook that unfolds like this. I put a little cardboard thing in here to help so when I'm flipping them around. So we'll just go through a little bit of this. So this starts on January 11th, 2016. This is the Smith Corona Galaxy 12. Yeah, these are actual blog articles that get posted to my blog. These are the originals. It's sort of the same thing as you've seen earlier. Different kinds of papers, different kinds of machines. Oh, this was the Corona 4. Oh my goodness, I still have the Corona 4. I don't even have this typewriter anymore. And I'm showing like different paragraphs, wide, close-up, medium, close-up, wide shot, etc., notes about how to crop these into my blog article. Anyway, this is my Olympia. I had the wide carriage Olympia. I gave it to my wife's niece, but we had a wide carriage Olympia SM9, and this was some of the writings I did on that. It's kind of fun to go through this because, you know, you're seeing the impression from typewriters that aren't even in the collection anymore. This is the older SM9 that had the squarish kind of techno font. I don't have that machine either. Here is a rough draft of a blog article written by hand, ballpoint pen on notebook paper, and then Tangible Reality. I don't even know where the typing of that is, but was that this one maybe? Nope. So this might have been typed on the computer itself, but that was the rough draft. And let's see, Corona 4 again. So it's kind of fun. Olympia SM9. Oh, the Brother Webster XL 747. This is February of 2016. And it goes on and on. Like I say, we don't have time to go through all this. I have some of these blog articles, you know, I actually did quite a bit of handwriting in terms of preparations for them. I don't do that quite as well anymore. Again, more of this. Twisby and Parker Quink ink on a fountain pen. Some notes about a blog article. And then I typed it up on the Hermes 3000, the French 1970s one. And here is a sheet of that newsprint paper, 9 by 12 inches. It overhangs the notebook a little bit. I should have cut it down. This was done with the Naked Writer Hermes 3000, which now Kevin has. That has a nice typeface. This was in April of 2016, a blog article written at Winnings Coffee, Twisby fountain pen, Parker Quink ink, red line edited, and 3-4 pages from 2016 up until 2021. So this is 5 years of blogging. Look at that, 5 years of blog articles. Well, I keep thinking about what's going to happen long term to these notebooks. I have a shelf of notebooks in the closet behind us. I have a stack of plastic storage bins full of binders of notebooks full of other typings, and also a bunch of photographic prints and negatives. And you think, what's going to happen to all this when I shed the mortal coil? Probably it's going to get dumped in the dumpster. Hopefully the recycle bin in the case of the paper. But there's just a lot of stuff in here, especially like journal entries. And, you know, it's not like I'm an academic person and there would be some university archive library that would be interested in all this. It's just a guy writing for himself mainly. And that's probably a question all of you guys have too. If you're any kind of an amateur writer, if you write as a pastime, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing with those writings? That's a great question. I don't know what I'm doing with them, except I'm stashing them in 3-ring binders. That's all I know. Well, you know, eventually I've thought about this in the case of my blog, which I've maintained since about the year 2006. I thought maybe I could go through that and take the best of the blog articles and make a blurb book, a self-published book of those. Nobody would want to read it probably, but you know, it's a vanity press, right? And I guess writing for yourself is the same way. I don't know if there's any value in this stuff. I should really go through and start reading some of these, especially not so much the blog articles, but the journal entries, because the journal entries are private and they're saying things that you wouldn't say to the public, right? You know, it's always a dichotomy regarding digital media online, because on the one hand, we constantly get lectured by people who tell us you must back up your work, never trust Google, Yahoo, or any of those Yahoos to archive your stuff. But on the other hand, out of the other side of the same mouth, they'll tell you, oh, they spy on you, they record all your stuff, and they'll always have it online. Well, which is it? Is it one or the other? Well, it's probably a little of both. But in the case of my blog, it's on Blogger, so it probably will be around forever in some way or another, barring a meteor striking the Earth. So anyway, that's just my thoughts about it, but it's time for a new notebook. This one goes in the closet or in one of the bins. This one of my blog articles, look, it's almost as thick as the typewriter. This one is getting really close to needing a new notebook. It's actually not quite completely expanded out like it should, so I could probably go another few months of blogging before I get a new big notebook for that. But there you have it, just a little review of the changing of the guard, a new notebook full of potential, all that empty space in there for more typings. Some of this you guys will read on one type page, others you won't read at all. But that's just what it is to be a writer. Well, whatever the case, whatever you guys do creatively, I hope you do it to your heart's content. Do it with gusto. Stay creative. Be healthy. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye for now.